You play with my emotions. Why do you play with my emotions? Hey, love games live. Yeah. Here for you. Don't you doubt our care is true. It's true. Say so long to the pain you've been going through. We'll always stick with you. We will always hear your voice. So well done for making the intelligent choice.
Zamtel, live life today.
Oh, indeed, whatever goes up must come down, as we've seen in the grand finale of Love Games Live. And wow, what an ending. I mean, I just like to see that, all the conflicts have been resolved finally in the ending.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blend of good endings and also some bad ones as well. I mean, we'll be taking a look at exactly some of the decisions the characters made in order to get them to where they are today. And of course, some of the choices that they themselves decided on, all right, and the consequences of those. Some good consequences, some bad consequences. I mean, we saw Mimi and David losing their lives to HIV, and we also saw good consequences when it came to Wamba and Chilufya. So some good things.
Yeah, good stuff. And this being the actual final episode, we have adjusted our program a little bit. So we'll be reviewing episodes 26, and also we'll be getting back to our social media to get feedback from you and asking what your perspective on life has been after watching Love Games Live.
Love Games Live. Yeah.
Mr. Skazwe,
Yeah.
I have your test results.
Okay.
You tested HIV positive.
No. Can't be.
We did everything we could, but she didn't make it.
I know that sometimes it feels like the world is a bag of pain, but he would never let a righteous tear.
Has she taken her ARVs?
I gave it to her about 1 hour, 15 minutes ago.
Don't worry, Mrs. Mwanga, you're doing just fine. I'm confident we'll be delivering a healthy baby.
Hearts are broken. I thank you, Lord, when all are sleeping and death is peeping. You never leave me. I thank you, Lord, when mine spin.
Mom. I am a father.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Maybe my coming here led you on. But Julius, I really don't want any commitments. I'm still trying to figure out what I want.
I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong impression. It's just that I'm fond of you. But I do respect you. If that's what you need, then that's fine with me. Just promise me one thing. That you will always be my friend.
To friendship.
To friendship.
So you and Michael getting back together?
He came to propose. Can you imagine? He says he wants to marry me.
I'm gonna be a bridesmaid!
Don't get too excited. I turned him down.
Michael proposed and you turned him down?
I know you deserve better, but if you say yes to my proposal, I'll be the happiest man.
This is so shocking. But yes, I so want to marry you.
Where exactly did you meet? Was it in Kalingalinga compound, or were you once a passenger in his taxi?
Aunt Agatha can be so judgmental sometimes.
Tash, listen. Love is about two people. Look at me and Chilufya.
We made it through even with our parents fighting us tooth and nail.
tetumulande kona vamulamu vasitasheni kuti vaweshe kufena kupano
tapani ife nalala ndenako ndevachitati step kunchito twalilanshanya kale navena valipingula 30,000 kwacha so mumweve your taxi driver nama-riffraff relatives vakwe they can either take it or leave it
iyo vyamfuika
I am surprised that you, of all people, would push your daughter away from the man that she loves.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the presence of God and of this company, that Kasamu and Tesheni may be united in holy matrimony. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 8 explains, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth.
Well, from the episodes that you just watched, would actually like to zero down to some characters whose lives and choices that they made would like to examine in detail and draw some few lessons from.
Yeah, I mean, we see Mimi and David dying of AIDS, and it's very, very sad because, of course, not only were we attached to them as characters, but also it's sad because of the people they leave behind. I mean, their friends and families.
And first starting off, we start off with Mimi's story. She got expelled and then was exposed for her lewd ways at school. And then she got pregnant. After she got pregnant, she became a prostitute, lost her baby because of lack of care, and then she dies at the end. But also, she kind of goes back to her behavior and realizes the folly of her ways, but it's already too late. And this is the saddest part, though, because she finally, had gotten it.
It was indeed especially sad. I mean, especially as we saw in episode 26 when we backtracked and had a flashback of her life. I mean, you really feel for a person like that. But at the end of the day, the choices were her own, and she did make those decisions that led to those consequences. And unfortunately, she had to bear those consequences.
I think there are many experiences that can be drawn from her experience for all of us. The abuse that Mimi suffered as a child definitely led to her and how she dealt with men in her life. Also, it's probably something that even in our society, it shouldn't be something that we should tolerate. We should actually speak up and speak against it. And when we look at the case of Mimi's mom, she knew about it. And even when she knew about it, she kind of chose to ignore it, which kind of also, I think, added to everything else that happened. But at the end of the day, even everything else that happens to Mimi, she had a choice. She had a choice to not engage in activities that would lead to her having HIV, and also she had a choice to take care of her baby. So, I mean, all these things, she took so many risks herself, and even when she found out that she was positive, she really didn't change her lifestyle. So I think what we could take from that is that no matter what our past is, it should not determine what our future is going to be. And we need to take control of that and own it and make proper decisions for our future.
Well, very true. And then there's David, who spent most of the time being in denial about his HIV status. And by the time he actually accepted the fact that he was HIV positive, it was too late. And he found it very hard to manage his own health as well as his family's health.
And there are people like that who are like David, who are like, oh, HIV is not for me. You know, I'm too slick, I'm too educated, I got too much money. But really, where is David now?
If only he received and acted on the advice that Sachi gave him, he would have avoided HIV, or he would have taken his medication on time and received the proper treatment. Now, take note, smart people make smart decisions about their health and their sexuality. Be warned.
But looking on the bright side, though, if we look at how Womba and Chilufya actually dealt with their relationship and later on their sexuality, as soon as they started dating, they actually decided to go for an HIV test. and they found out that they were discarded couples. I mean, Wamba was HIV positive and Chilufya was negative, but with the right advice from Dr. Komba, I think they managed to live a healthy and happy life.
Yeah, what I like about this couple is that they took the responsibility to actually know their status early into their relationship, all right? And once they found their status after going into that VCT test room, they had the right frame of mind. Going in and of course coming out, and the knowledge that they got actually backed the decisions that they made, which were the right decisions in the end. I mean, what a fine example to us all.
Another good example of a relationship in different circumstances is Tasheni and Kasamu. Tasheni, of course, has always she'd been through a lot of rough things as well, starting from being in this relationship to realizing that Judge Boaz wasn't actually her father later on in life. That was actually tough to deal with. But I also loved her because she had now been known as Miss Condom, because she went out there and she taught people that you don't have to rely on the guy and you had to make these decisions for yourself.
Yeah, very true. Look, the cool thing about Tasheni and Kasamu is that they show us that communication is very important and very effective in relationships. They communicated about sexuality very early in their relationship. They talked about using condoms, getting tested, being together, staying faithful, and that actually paid off today, as you can see. And what is also interesting is how their relationship cut right across socio-economic lines, isn't it? Thus, their relationship is actually anchored in genuine love and trust and affection, and not motivated by money or greed or even sex for that matter. And they're happy in the end. I mean, those guys are as happy as two clowns in a circus, for goodness sake.
You see, we have actually learned so much from these characters. There's so many characters that you have followed as well and learned so much from. And it's good that, you know, you've been following us, and also feel free to share some of your experiences with us. But for now, let's see what Lulu's up to with the social network.
Hey there, we have some exciting giveaways to give to you today. We are looking for the best fans, so make sure that you're taking part in the discussions that are taking place on Facebook and Twitter. Now make sure that you participate and respond to these questions. 1. What was your favorite part of Love Games? And 2, how has Love Games changed your perspective on life? These questions are on Facebook and Twitter. So make sure that if you have your comment, post it right now. We're looking for the most moving comment, and that will help us pick our best fan. All right, so you might have noticed also that last week we posted the same question. Don't worry, we're giving you yet another chance, especially for those that didn't post, to post right now. But hurry, time might run out for you, okay? Because we'll be giving away these fantastic prizes at the end of the show tonight. To kick off right now, let us hear actually what one of the most compelling submissions has been. Our first submission is from Prudence in Lusaka. And she says, I was really affected seeing Mimi's story. So many of my friends act like she did. Even me sometimes. I know we don't want to think things can happen to us, but that's out of fear. We are afraid that it will, so we just don't think about it. But the thing we all need to realize is that we can control the fear. We just have to use condoms and stick to one partner. Then there's nothing to be afraid of. Then we won't just think HIV won't happen to us. We will know it won't happen to us. Good one, Prudence. Thanks so much for sending in that submission.
Wow, to the part that you've all been waiting for. Let's get talking with some of our cast members as we join Chi having a chat with Wamba.
I'm seated here with Yoko Chimanja, but you know her better as Wamba. Wamba, Yoko, I don't know which one to use. Welcome and thanks for coming through.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, so you played a fantastic character in Love Games. And tell us, with regards to this, what was your favorite part of the show? I'm sure you had your moments.
Wow. I mean, really diverse character. I don't think I can pinpoint anything. The one thing I did love about playing Wamba, though, was that she only had one partner. Unlike everybody else, I didn't have to go from one person to another. But I think what really stood out for me was how you can go on living your life even if you're HIV positive, and the importance of testing, and how that, in a sense, helps you make decisions that encourage a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, so is that one of the things that has changed your perspective? Has your perspective changed at all?
Well, I think when it comes to childbearing, yes.
I was of the perception that if you were HIV positive, it was safer for you not to have children, or your option would be to adopt. So I think just being in this helped me understand the different measures that can be taken to ensure that someone has a child naturally, but also a healthy negative child.
Okay, so how is Love Games different compared to other TV shows that you have worked on?
When it comes to the actual production, it was a little more professional than other sets I'd been on in that perspective. But in terms of the story itself, I guess for me, having played one HIV positive to playing another, the difference was looking at it from a grown woman's perspective.
All right.
I think that's what really stood out for me. The difference, the character I had played before was at school and was coming to know who she was. Whereas with this character, she already knew who she was, but it was dealing with the changes in her life after finding out she's HIV positive. So.
All right. Okay. Now, speaking of changes, how would you advise people out there to change their lives and succeed? I mean, women all over the country. What advice would you give them?
Well, your life is your own. And when it comes to making your decisions, it's really up to you. How healthy you are, how well you are is up to you. And it should be one of the things top of your mind. Take whatever measures it is to ensure that you're safe, to ensure that you're healthy. If it means using condoms, do that. If it means abstaining, do that. That's the one way to guarantee it. Yeah. Also, talk to your partners. You know, I think communication is very key in any relationship, and you learn from each other. So yeah, that's what I'll do. Talk to your partner, make sure you get tested, and stay safe.
All right. So there we have it, health being a priority. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So there we have it, interviewing Yoko, who played the character of Womba. We'll be on next with some very, very interesting interviews as well. More to come on Love Games. So Grace, what advice would you have for your characters, knowing exactly what happens to them in the end?
Okay. For the type of person Farida was, she was a bit too carefree and too comfortable, a bit complacent about HIV and AIDS, and thought it could never happen to her. So my advice would be, do not be so ignorant about HIV and AIDS, and especially in this world that we're living in today. You can't take so many risks like that. It's already bad enough that we already indulge in sexual activities, even if it's with your boyfriend and it's a one partner. But when you go to an extent of multiple partners as well, then it's about you taking it to another level, and you need to be more health conscious.
All right. Now, do you think those characters in Love Games are actually representative of real people out there?
Yes, they really are. There are so many people out there, like each and every character that was in Love Games. There's definitely at least like 5 people who can relate to each and every character. It's so funny because like 2 weeks ago, there was a girl I met at some function that we were at, and she was like, oh, I really like your character, what and what and what. I love the way you played Farida and everything. And then she went in saying a friend of hers was now questioning her status, and I was very happy and moved by that. So it goes to show that not only are people now understanding how dangerous HIV and AIDS is, but now she was actually thinking of going to get herself tested and stuff like that. So it shows that it really did help.
Grace, thank you very, very much for coming through, and you definitely did play the character of Farida very well. And as you said, that's a character that definitely had an impact on a lot of people's lives. So thanks once again. All right, so coming up next, we have an interview with Progress, and I'm sure you'll be sticking around for that one. This is Love Games Live. Well, you obviously know her as the character Progress from Love Games, but certainly we are going to sit down with her and find out a bit more about what happened behind the scenes, and of course who this actor actually is and what they have to say about their experience in Love Games. So welcome.
Hi.
And now I'm tempted to call you Progress. Obviously that's not your real name.
No. Nancy Chimunya Handavile.
Okay, there we go. But with regards to playing the character of Progress, what was filming like? What was the process like?
It's a little hectic. You know, people think it's all glamour, but it is hectic. You get on set in the morning,
You have to go through the paces, you have to do makeup, you have to sit with the director in case he has some pointers. You have to go through the scenes with your co-character. Yeah, then you get on set, you have to shoot, you have to do long shots, medium shots, close-ups. By the end of the day, you're really tired.
Okay.
So it was hectic, but it was fun. You make friends all the time.
Great.
And you learn a lot.
And now, speaking of learning a lot, what would you teach your characters from Love Games? What would you say if you were to interact with Progress in a real-life situation?
I wouldn't do the whole abstain, use a condom, even though that is very relevant. I think the main issue here is section networks. Progress went into this with Hamonga knowing he was married, knowing he had something with Farida. And I think I would tell her to slow down, because sometimes what you want is not necessarily what you need. So I think sometimes you need to slow down, take a moment, step back from all the pressure of getting married and everything, and just wait for the right moment, for the right things to come. Yeah.
Now, I know you act as Progress, but do you think there are real characters out there, people like Progress, that this show relates
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, the whole issue of employers sleeping with their maids, it's not necessarily even just in the home. Even at the office, people sometimes have to sleep their way to the top. Bosses sometimes take advantage of their female employees. It's everywhere. You know, it's this whole culture.